So let's talk about getting back into ring shape. When you're trying to, I'm making tours and for my book and trying to promote that thing, and I know I've got a handful of matches to do, and now I'm going to be headlining a pay-per-view. Is there a regiment where, or do you think, hey, it's 5 guys, maybe it won't be that bad, or what's the thinking?
Well, in this case, there's a combination of both. I had taken quite a bit of pride into getting into ring shape before these comeback matches. I mean, I think you can look at the way I looked when I took on Randy Orton at Backlash and see that, okay, this guy's lost a lot of weight. It wasn't just a diet. I mean, I really had 5-6 months to work on it. I went down from 330 to 260. It was the lightest I'd been in a long time. And I really think that the work showed. Unfortunately, in 2007, and I'm going to blame this on Al Snow. Al Snow was a practitioner of something called 100 rep training. And the theory behind it is you would start out with light weights and you continue with the light weights, especially on something like a leg press, where you start burning out and you start feeling the lactic acid build up. But because the weights are light, you can still kind of gut through it and you can get to your 100 reps, but the last 30 or 40 reps are going to be excruciating to where you got a major burn and your legs are a different way. You train your legs a different way than you did your upper body. You could train them to exhaustion. You could do more reps. I mean, it was never a textbook example. And now the science is different than it was when I was reading up on that stuff in the 80s and the 90s. But the idea is you can fight through the pain because of the limited amount of weights. And I would get off that weight machine. This is one of 5 or 6 pieces that we had brought to our garage on Long Island after my wife and I moved from Florida. The State Department needed the land, and we gracefully eased out of the gym business. We did have a good gym, a good functioning, cool gym in Navarre, Florida. I wanted something to be able to fall back on, and then the business just took off. And I was like, I don't think we're going to need something to fall back on, like if we're wise with our money. But it was a great place for people to work out. We were in between an Air Force base, a Marine base, and a Navy base. And so most of the constituents were people who had bases, who had equipment and gyms on base, but they liked it. It had a good atmosphere. It was a really cool place to work out. It was really unique. But when the State Department bought our gym, we donated a lot of the equipment to a local YMCA. We donated a lot of equipment to I'm trying to think of the name of the place. In Long Island City, there was a Borden Avenue Veterans Residence House. So it's kind of like for homeless veterans. So they pretty much had a full-scale gym overnight. And I held on to maybe 5 or 6 pieces of equipment, including this leg press. And you get off that leg press and you can barely walk, right? Because your legs are so sore. But one day I'm doing it, and around the 20th rep, I feel something go down like my lower back. And it feels like someone has found a way to tap into the inside of my leg. It is pouring scalding water down my right leg. So I've injured my back, but I continue to do the 60 reps. And when I'm walking up the hill in my driveway, I thought, I'm effed. If I was another guy, I would drop that F-bomb and I'd be justified in doing it. And by the time I got to the house, I realized I'm in deep trouble. So I went to the post office to try to drop off something, and I found myself shuffling back and forth on my feet during the 10 minutes I was there just to take the excruciating pain off my lower back. I got home, probably sped home. By the time I was 5 minutes in, I had had 3 or 4 drinks. like 2-3 beers, a couple shots, and my wife went, "What's going on?" I was like, "Glad I'm in incredible pain." And the person I felt worst for in the scenario is my daughter Noelle. 2007, she would have been 14. She was under the impression her dad was some type of tough guy, and now I'm reduced to helplessness to the point where the guy they have to take me to the hospital, laying down in the back. We had an SUV at the time, and so I go to the hospital, and I can tell they're skeptical because pain medication was a real issue at that time, right? Guys creating reasons to come in there, people hitting themselves in the thumb with a hammer, going in looking for pain medication. So the guy says, "Oh, okay, what is your pain on a level of 1 to 10?" I said, 10. He goes, "No, what is your," he looks at me real cynically. I said, "It's a 10. And then he goes to start asking it again. I said, "Let me put it this way. When I was in Germany in 1994 and lost my ear, I was asked what my level of pain was, and I said it was a 4. So when I'm telling you this is a 10, I'm telling you this is the worst pain I've ever been in my entire life." And the guy gave me like Tylenol, and then misdiagnosed me. He said, "You have a pulled muscle." And I said, "With all due respect, I've had pulled muscles. This is not a pulled muscle." And so I went on my own, and I had a MRI done that was just disastrous, just freaking disastrous. I remember talking to the expert in Pittsburgh about the diagnosis. He goes, "It's a bad MRI." And I said, "Well, what is it?" He goes, "It's a bad MRI." And it was one of those, you get what you pay for. This is, this is my bills coming up, time to be paid. And I didn't realize that pain was going to be quite that steep. And
Wow.
I'd say one of the most down moments, I'll go with the 2 downers, and then we'll try to get happy here in a little bit, was when I had a surgery set in Pittsburgh. And then the guy called up. He goes, "Listen," he goes, "I don't think we can help you." He said, "You've just got too many issues. You've got the neurological issues. You've got the structural issues. There was another issue." He said, "There's no guarantee that anything we do will help at all." And so you could say, and then depression set in. The other time was when I went to get my, so we're jumping ahead from 2007 to 2011. And in between, I had the TNA stint. But when I did come back to WWE, I had the full physical done. And I measure in at 6'1.25". And I knew I'd been a legit 6'4".
Oh,
So I was really baffled by that, right? And I said, "I used to be 6'4". And okay, and you got another couple hours of tests going. He takes the X-ray of my back, and I see that my back is pulling. It's just hooking to the left. It's just making a turn. And I said, "What the heck is that?" He said, "That's acquired scoliosis.
oh,
That is the gradual bending of your spine from favoring injuries." And I said, "Would that account for the 2 3/4 inches that I lost?" And he said, "Absolutely." So that night I drive home. My daughter's out by the mailbox when I arrive, and she looks at me with her eyes bright, like, she nods her head, like, "Did they go good?" And all I did is I just shook my head. I just shook my head. I thought, what have I done to myself? Like, this is even more than I bargained for. I've got a spine that's inoperable. I've got, scoliosis making me 2.5 inches, 2 3/4 inches shorter. There's no help for me whatsoever until DDP yoga came along.
really?
Yeah, the strengthening, the lengthening. I also had a personal trainer who I'd known in high school who got me started moving. She said, "I'll get you moving, but you got to be able to put in the work." Got in the pool. This is when I had that other dramatic weight loss from 338 to 288 by the time I got into the ring for WrestleMania 2016, and then I went on to drop another 50, and now I've put all that back. So I've got to find a way to get back into that same mindset where I'm going to get out there every single day and find something to do and move, even if it's in the pool, even if it's combining DDP motions in the pool, because COVID kicked my butt in such a major way. And I was just so shocked to see how much strength I'd lost, going from being a 45 push-up guy to a 3 push-up guy.
Wow.
Like dramatic loss of strength. So if there's ever a time when someone out there has wanted to kick my butt, now's probably the time, because I don't have a lot in the way of strength these days. But I'll get it back. Strength of character, yes, Conrad. Strength of body, I've been stronger in the past. I realize we've gone on a segue, but this does give you an idea of where I was in 2007. So I was not properly trained.
Right.
And yet I was very grateful for the 5-man format, which would not exploit my weaknesses the way that a singles match would.